All right, Board Game Maniacs, it's time to get into our desecrated Grail Shrine build. Designs. Let's talk designs first. We have to come up with design. I roughly drew out what I wanted. There's a special edition that's going right in the middle there. You can probably see it says Ark. Yes, we are going to be using the Ark of the Covenant as part of the Grail Shrine that gets desecrated from the Grail Thralls and Hounds. We already know that our base structure is going to be 8 inches by 8 inches and by roughly 2 inches high. Foam core. Got this from a dollar store, and it's a 16 by 20. Don't really matter the size because we are cutting it down, so it kind of does. You don't want it to have smaller. We are going to use the factory corner because we know it's square, and we're going to base our cuts off of that edge. So I'm measuring 8 inches from the edge in and putting a mark here. I know this is on black, it's hard to see, but just got to bear with me a bit. So that's 8 inches. We are going to draw a square. I think I need to sharpen my pencil because my pencil head is broken. Always make sure you have a sharp pencil. Metal ruler, not a plastic one. Can't cut through. Good tip. Should always cut away from you, but I'm cutting towards me. I live on the wild side. And perfect fit. We have our foam pieces that are roughly 2 inches by 2 inches. Well, this is a square, but it's 2 inches thick, and that's this way too as well. And height-wise, 2 inches by 2 3/4 inches. We're going to keep the height of 2 3/4 inches for a new bit of foam, but we're going to shrink this. We're going to cut it down. Instead of 2 inch thick foam, we're going to have 1 inch thick foam. We are going to go down to 1 inch, but because we're going to be adding like some a facade to the front of it, like popsicle sticks or so forth, we're going to go down to 3/4 of an inch, and this is going to be for this way and that way too as well. It's still going to hold up its rigidity because it's going to be super strong, and I know that because of our ground texture that I've used. It's 3/4 of an inch, but we're leaving this side open because we want to have more of an open concept here for the design that I drew that you can see here. So forth. Originally I was going to have it so the camera can pick that up, that it's kind of like a horseshoe, but I changed it because we're going to do it this way instead. So we got your 3/4 of an inch piece of foam that's here, and then we are going to have this big surface area to work with too as well, and that's what I'm looking at creating. With the construction of my first trenches, this is the type of foam that I used for this design. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a different foam. This here is more of like your insulation foam. This thickness is actually 3/4 of an inch thick, so I don't have to do any cutting. 8 inches by 8 inches. Mark it off right there. And we don't know if this is square, this edge, but we're just going to say it's square because it's going to be a trench ground that's all ripped up and everything. It's nothing's going to be level or square. You should always cut away from you, not towards you like I'm doing, but I'm stepping aside and I'm going very slow because I've cut myself several times. 8 inches by 2 inches and 3/4. Again, these measurements you don't need to use. You can use for whatever kind of trench system you're building. It's just what I'm doing, so, and I'm shooting video onto it. Hot glue gun. Just gotta go quick with this. It's a fine balance. Yeah. Just roughly cutting it. All I'm using is just a flathead screwdriver. This is going to be covered over with ground cover like the other stuff, but you know, the more work you do to hide edges before you hide the edges, the less work it is to hide the edges. Really long matchsticks I got from my favorite store in the world, that is the dollar store. Just so everybody knows, if you want to know what the box looks like, it's X light. You don't have to use these kind, just know that they are really long, that way I don't have to piece them together because the less I have to do, the better off it is. And if we can go here, maybe the camera can see that, but you can see there is an actual space there, and I do have the matchsticks underneath it. And the reason why is because in World War I with the trenches, what would happen is that the mud and the water would get built up so much that the the soldier will get, which is called trench foot, and it's really, really bad. Build up like a a level up just so that it will help contain the mush underneath it, even though it's still the top will get muddy and everything too as well. This is the most difficult part, is trying to get the hot glue to go on only the stick. Just like that, pretty easy. And I just beep, 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 and then one in the corner. This is part of my 5 essential materials. If you haven't seen that video, go check it on the channel. Maybe there'll be a link up here somewhere down below. The next thing we're gonna do is we have to measure out for the putting the boards on, but you can see like all of these popsicle sticks we're gonna be using, we have to prep them first. Snap them off. That way if you just squeeze them, they're not gonna fly everywhere. We're gonna double up this. We're going to double up here, and we're gonna double up there with the matchsticks. After that, then it's just going to be a matter of just putting the popsicle sticks down. You just don't want to be too long, because I noticed wood, hot glue sets on the wood really fast. That is the base support for it. We're going to use the same kind of paint that we used for in the trench video, and if you're not sure about what I use, just go back and check that out too as well. It's in my Adventures in Trench Crusade playlist. It's kind of gritty because I added the sand, and we are just going to paint it all over. Use a cheap brush because it gets messy. So you can see here, no special ability for painting. It's just paint, paint, paint. I'm going on the foam too as well, and that is the outside. We'll be back when that's all covered and dry. While this is drying, we're going to set it aside. The popsicle sticks that we cut the tips to each ends off. What we're going to do is we're going to take one, we're going to use, again, this is extreme caution for this. We are just going to scrape. If you were doing a whole bunch of tiles like I did, this takes a lot of time. So you can always invest into this too as well. It don't go as deep as what the knife does, but it will give you a little bit of marks onto it. And just, you know, scrape it along like this, be gentle. The more pre-painting you can do, the better off you're going to be. And with this, again, pre-painting stuff, we're just going to use this. I put a puppy pad down because it is going to get a little messy. This is just a stain, any kind of stain. This is what I grabbed, so this is what I'm using. Now that they're all covered, next thing to do is just wait till they dry, and we'll go on to the next step. Sorry about that. I lost some footage because the card kind on my camera was screwing up. Again, I need to get some new equipment to push this channel a lot further with Board Game Maniacs. So if you have any suggestions for cameras, so when I do have money, like would be a good camera to get. So anyhow, I've been just gluing these down, and very easy. Just taking the glue gun, sticking a little bit of glue. Not too worried about the stringies unless they're going over, because it's underneath, you're not going to see it. It's all glued down. You can see there's a little gap here, and like I said, some gaps, because what I took my X-Acto knife when I was scoring these, and I cut all little pieces just to give it more of a jagged look to it. Even though it's still neat, it's still jagged. And we're just going to cut the edges off of this coffee stir sticks. It was one of my essential materials again, very thin, and we are just going to align them like so. Now I'm thinking some corrugated metal would be nice up there, so I think that's what we might do, is cut it off so we can glue this down and then put that on top of it. Corrugated cardboard from the dollar store, put that on here first. And since we got the wood plank on here, and if you measure it, 2 inches and 3/4 is now 2.5 inches that you can see right here instead of 2 3/4 inches, because we built up the bottom. So we're going to cut this into strips. Originally I was going to just put all paneling, like I said, up this entire thing, but I think it would look nice if it was half and half instead of the pipes, because again, this is a shrine. It's going to be a lot cleaner, a lot more pristine looking than like this part. Instead of running it this way, we're going to run it this way, so it's different, and also it's going to be a different vertical from the floor. Or 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches. Kind of hard doing this with the corrugation, but if it messes up a bit, no big deal. Now, if you don't have access to this corrugation, you can always, again, go with the popsicle sticks, the stir sticks, or you can go with just some cardboard and pull it. If you get some corrugated cardboard and you pull off the layer, then you will find the corrugation underneath it, which originally I was going to do, but my wife found these at the dollar store. They were sold out for a while, but she did find them, probably because I bought them all. You can glue this in with PVA or hot glue, or both if you want, but I am in a hurry, so I'm just going to use some hot glue. Applying hot glue. Again, PVA probably better because it's going to have no bumps underneath. Too much in a hurry all the time. I'm only going 4 high because the rest I'm going to leave this part to corrugation. We are using these pieces of wood that we got from the dollar store, and I'm just gently cutting them. You can cut them on other ways if you want. This one's a little thick, but you just want to be cautious cutting these, that you don't hurt yourself. Here's the container. Dollar store. Love it! These do not reach the entire height, but that's okay because a roof or a cover over top of this, so it's just going to add to a little bit more. We could raise it up to here if we want, but again, we have that gap. I'm not very pleased with that, so we're just going to keep it tight, and I'm just going to go around and glue them along here. Before I go on and glue the trees down, you can see I put some mark with the pencil, and the reason why is because I did some 3D printing, and I found some tablets, some stone tablets that I'm going to be incorporating into this, because this is supposed to be a shrine. So we are going to dig out, make it look like it's been either found into the depth of the earth, or it's going to be dug so that we could put there, and then maybe they can pray, or it's going to protect it religiously, this section. I'm not sure, but we're just going to cut it out, and then I am just going to cut it out with my X-Acto knife. Just do a search on Thingiverse and for stone tablets, and that's what I found. So there's the ones that I'm just going to kind of cut the spaces out to put them there, and once I'm done with that, I'll be back because I have to do some cutting. It's going to be hard camera angle to see me cutting. Word of advice to myself for future projects and anybody else is, if you're planning on doing something like this, you want to cut it out before you apply the wood, which is a lot harder to cut into. And I did switch over to this type of blade just to fine detail. But what we have to do now is, since this is all fitting, we didn't glue these in, they're just set in there like so, because we are going to take our ground mixture that we already painted this for, and we are going to paint all inside here just to be safe. We got to paint it with the ground cover the holes. You can see this is all going to be painted. This is not the color it's going to stay. You can see there's some screw ups here too as well, but that's all going to be fixed. I printed this off and combined these miniatures together. I don't know who owned or who created what. I'll try to find out and link it in the description. If you know, please link in the description, because I had this for a while, and it's going to be a great little addition, because again, this is going to be a chamber of religious meaning. Next thing we're going to do is apply the trees, or the tree trunks, and we're just going to glue them all around. You'll see hot glue gun. Remember, there's a gap at the top that we're leaving because we are putting on a roof. Being careful not to burn my fingers. Now, there is a gap you can see right here because of this transition. I could have cut that out, but I'm not going to bother because I'll just fill this in with some mud just so that it'll hide the seam, which will be fine. Hot glue, gotta love hot glue. A lot of builds that I do too as well, just talking about the builds, is they're very, I find my building very organically going on. Like, I'll start building it, I'll have a plan, but a lot of times, like my design or my plan, I don't stick with 100%. And the reason why is because it's so organic, it just keeps changing and evolving as I go along. And I don't know if that does it for you guys, but it does for me for sure. I love that. And we're gonna put one in the corner here too. Just like so. Probably gonna angle it just slightly Just so we're on the same page, besides just adding the wood here, I actually added up top just to give it a little bit more realistic, like this would be how it's supporting the ceiling or the roof. Put some rubble that it's like they dug this out to place them here just so that we can put the Ark of Covenant, or they found the scripture tablets, or it could be so many different ideas on what we're doing. Just gonna throw some PVA glue and sprinkling a little bit of this stuff. Now all this is the pink insulation foam, the same foam that I used to build the backing part, but this is just cut up into little pieces. And we're just sealing it back over with some PVA. You can put it on, leave it dry, and then rework it with some more PVA. And we're probably going to sprinkle a little bit of sand on it too as well. Why? Why are we going to do that? Well, why not? What I could do to make it a little bit more easier is use my texture paint that I created. At this point, we're going to seal all of the tree branches and also the corrugated cardboard with PVA glue just to help seal it a bit before we start throwing some paint or anything onto it. The next thing we are going to do now is we are going to create a roof. And to create a roof, we're going to use two different types of cardboard. This is chipboard, it's cardboard. I got it off Amazon, it's super thick. Wylock Armory, Eric's Hobby Workshop, and Black Magic Craft, and so many other major crafters use this stuff too as well. So it is really good. That's nice and flexible. We're going to be using that, and we're also going to be using some corrugated cardboard. You can see it's corrugated because you can see all the corrugation here. We're going to peel this off and cut it to the size so it's going to be angular like this, and so on. And this is just so that we can glue them together to give it more of a rigidity, because I know that when you pull a layer of cardboard or paper off the corrugated cardboard, it gets weak. And because of that, it's going to be a little floppy and flimsy. And we want it so that we can have miniature standing on top of it. Hard to see, but I got my two pieces of cardboard laying down that are my roofs. And you can see off camera, I got my, I said Mod Podge, but I'm just using PVA glue because it's there. And we're just going to put a layer PVA glue onto this rigid cardboard, the corrugated cardboard, and it fits exactly like this. While the PVA is drying on top of the corrugation, we're going to throw this texture paint on top of it. You can see it's got some rocks, and we're going to sprinkle some sand onto it too, just to give it more of a texture. And then we got to let this all dry thoroughly, and I mean thoroughly. And we're on to sprinkling some sand to give it some more texture. And you can see I add a little bit more foam to it. I have some balsa wood. For what I have planned, it's going to look a little bit more realistic. The balsa wood, it's 2 3/4. So we're going to mark it off and cut it. 2 3/4. I did say 2 3/4, but actually it's 2 1/2. Just in case you were actually following along with all the details. So all we're doing is we're going to take this knife very carefully. We're going to kind of retract the blade a little bit. Cutting this down. I want to give it more of an organic look to it, because it is wood actually. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing that we did for the popsicle sticks, and we're just going to score them, and we're also going to put the amber stain on it as well. I'm not going to have to show that. So when this is all stained up, we're going to just hot glue it in place here. There is how it's going to sit. But before we do that, like hot glue it in place, we're going to put some magnets and screws so that this is going to be just locked into, you can snap on or off as quick as possible. We're going to need to mark where the screw and magnets are going to be. So okay, there's going to be one on the edge here. I want this to have a lot of contact. Line this up, keep making sure it's kept in line. Here too as well. Here. I think I got an idea of how I'm going to frame this now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to frame it while we're on camera. Hot glue, don't get on my fingers, hot glue. And I'm taking the time to let this dry, or set the hot glue set, because this will help keep the roof straight and not warped. Let's see. So, one more here. That's why not? Put one in that. There we go. Avoiding the fingers. Don't know how successful it's going to be. Keep trying to find the camera angle it's gonna work so you can see it. Try a different camera angle. Maybe you can see a little better now. Again, we're just building out the structure so that it keeps its rigidity, or maintains some kind of rigidity for a roof. And there you have it for that part. I just finished putting the ribs on and just sat it there. It fits nicely. You can see, it looks like a Christmas tree kind of. And we're not done yet though, because we do have the markings still where we are going to be placing the magnets on this and the screws on that. As soon as I drilled the holes, I found my larger magnets. Originally, I was going to use these ones, which aren't very strong, but we're going to change the design a bit. I know I got the holes there, but oh well. We are going to just hot glue these babies just like that in place. Live and learn. While the hot glue is setting onto the roof, we are going to put small little silver screws in along here, and we're going to glue them down with hot glue. Again, hot glue, hot glue. Where we're going to put the screw is going to be kind of like in the center. Put a little bit of glue. The screw is in the center, you can see right there. Doing it very, very gently. Put a mark. Just put a mark. I'm putting like 2 or 3 screws in the corner part because I know there's a lot of area there, and because the area, it's going to be hard to determine where that screw or where that magnet is. So we're just going to cover a larger area. And the roof is magnetized. So you can see we're going to, when we're doing the painting part, we're going to make this all look like it's not there. And same with that part. Magnets, I could clean it up, which I might do later on. I'm not unhappy with that. I like that part, so we're moving on now. I'm going to implement all of these things, glue everything down, and then when I come back, we will see the results. This is what I'm thinking so far. I just glued them down with hot glue, and because this is kind of a varnished surface, I didn't glue them to the backing or anything, just on the bottom. If I really want to, I can pull these off just gently. I wouldn't disturb it. If anything, it may rough up the surface, or dullien it, I should say, but I don't have it permanently there. But this is what I was thinking, and I don't have the shells painted yet. So I'm waiting until I paint them, and they're going to be glued one in each of these, because it's going to be like a small little ammo prayer shrine too as well. That is, this here is a big Grail Shrine. And there you have it, Board Game Maniacs. That is with all of the little bits and pieces glued in places. So stay tuned and be notified when the painting video comes out for how we painted the Grail Shrine for Trench Crusade. Until then, if you haven't already, click on the subscribe and bell notification so you get notified when the video does come out. And while you're at it, check out the playlist for my adventures in Trench Crusade for all the other videos to keep up to date in Trench Crusade and Board Game Maniacs. I'll see you on the flip side, and remember, be a maniac. Bye-bye.